Hey guys, thanks so much for stopping by. I wanted to help remind you that no matter what you're going through right now, you can still have a good day. Hello everyone, thanks so much for stopping by. Welcome back to another episode of It's a Good Day podcast. I'm so glad you guys are here with me today. Today is a really fun episode. We are going to be talking about how I met my husband. Oh, that's cute. Barf. So my husband is my best friend. We've known each other for about 3 years now, almost 4. He's a great dude. It's funny because we don't really have one of those like fairy tale stories of falling in love with one another or knowing right away that he was the one. My husband's name is Santiago. I met him when I was attending college. It's actually kind of funny. When I first went to college, my intention was not to get a boyfriend at all. And there's a bunch of family members that were like, oh, you're going to find him, you're going to find a guy. And I was like, no, that's not what I want. I don't want a guy. The only guy I want is God. Hello. Can I get a hallelujah? That was not my intention at all. My purpose of going to school was to go to school, not to create this love life that I wasn't looking for. I was, at that point in time, not just getting out of a relationship, but it was still pretty fresh to me. You know, I'm a female. I have emotions and feelings. And when I think I'm sad for a long time. So going to college, it was not my intention to find Santiago. When we first got to Evangel, when students first got to Evangel, there was this thing that they did like the first week of school where we had these groups of people from all over campus come together. It was like a group of 10 people, boys and girls from different dorms and different parts of campus and doing different things, going for different concentrations and different degrees. And there was this guy in my group who I thought was cute. I thought he was funny, you know. It was just a crush. It wasn't like,
oh my gosh, I want to get to know this guy.
It was like, oh, he's cute. I want to hang out with him because he's funny. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I liked this guy for a while. Not a while. I guess it was a week. What am I saying? I meet this guy in this group. I don't make it super obvious that I like him. But when the day was done and we were no longer hanging out with those groups, at night, we would, go get ice cream, the group would, or we would go do a group activity at night, and we went, mini golfing, and it was really just a way for these college students to get to know one another and to make friends their first week of school, so they didn't feel alone or scared or unsure, and so, we kept this group, us 10, kept hanging out with one another. This guy was at all these events. And we were getting along. We would laugh and talk, and it was just cute, If I tried to flirt, it wasn't intentional. I have a very flirtatious personality. One day, when we were no longer hanging out as a group, this guy invited his roommate we were, going to get ice cream or something, and he invited his roommate to come along. I didn't think anything of it, I was just like, oh, the cute roommate has a friend. That's cool. And I knew the roommate was Santiago, okay? So I did not originally have a crush on Santiago. I had a crush on Santiago's roommate. Haha. Time goes by, and the guy starts making other friends and hanging out with other people, and, the interest was no longer really there. But we still had, this text group. It was me and 3 of the guys, I guess. Which, now that I say that, is really weird. Because it was just a text group of me and guys. We would, sometimes we would just text this group and be like, hey, I'm going over here to study if you guys want to hang out. Or, hey, I'm going to get food. Are one of you guys free? So, I'm not by myself when I'm eating. And it wasn't just me texting. The guys would text, too. So, it was just a friend group. That's all it was. It was just a friend group. So then one day, I texted the group, and I was like, hey, I'm going to eat lunch if you guys are free. If not, whatever. Because usually, I would only go to that group if my roommate or my suite mate were busy, and I was all by myself. Because if I was with my roommate or my suite mate, whatever, I didn't need to hang out with other people because I was hanging out with them. So one day I texted the group because they were busy, and I was like, hey, I'm going to eat lunch. If you guys want to show up, cool. Not, whatever. I'm fine by myself. So then Santiago texted, and he was like, oh, yeah, I'm free. I'll show up. So then he shows up. I'm doing some homework, and he gets a pizza, and these cheesy breadsticks. Like, I remember the meal to the T. And he comes and he sits down, and I got distracted because he started asking questions about me. I started asking questions about him because at that time we didn't know each other super well. We just kind of knew of each other. So we started talking to one another and getting to know each other, and I was like,
okay, this guy's kind of cute.
But I'm not looking for a relationship, so I'll just look, because he's just kind of cute. That lunch ended up being like half a day thing. We just sat there and talked for hours, getting to know one another, talking about one another, and, he was a cute dude. And I went to my dorm that night, like, with a little bounce in my step, because this guy took interest in me, and it was cute. I don't know, it was just a cute little thing. After that, his friend, I kind of lost interest in him, because I was like, yeah, he wasn't showing any interest in me, but Santiago's showing interest in me, and he's a cute guy, and he loves God, and it's great. Eventually, we told each other, like a couple months later, we were like, listen, we have feelings for each other. He said, I have feelings for you. And I said, oh my gosh, I have feelings for you too. I said, but I'm not looking for a relationship at all. I got things to do. I'm focused, and it's okay that we like each other. It's not a bad thing that we like each other. But like, I want to focus on God, and I want to focus on my schoolwork. And that's what I want to do. That is what I want to do for myself. And that is my goal. And he was like, cool. I respect that. That's fine. Just know that I like you. And we prayed about it, and we were like, okay, God, we recognize these feelings, and maybe in the future we'd like to pursue them, but right now I pray that you just bless this friendship, and you help us to remain focused on why we're truly here, and we pray that this friendship just continues to grow. And we gave each other a hug, and we went our separate ways, and that was that. And for a couple more months, we were just friends, and we were building that friendship. And then one day we were both like, oh my gosh, we just like each other too much. This is ridiculous. And then we started dating. We know we like each other. Right now we're just kind of torturing ourselves because we would purposely not hang out. We'd be like, all right. I remember I would do this. I'd sit in my dorm room bed and I'd be like, okay, I like him too much. This is a problem. I can't hang out with him anymore. I'm just not going to do it. And when we were talking / when we got together, I was still hooked, and having confusing feelings on my ex. And that was so hard for me because I so badly needed to move on from my past relationship because of things that had happened. I knew when I got to college, I knew that my past relationship was not the one that God wanted me to be in. And that was so hard for me to accept because of all the time I put into that relationship. And so when I met Santiago, that was kind of like a door to get away from that relationship. But then that relationship kind of kept creeping back up on me in college, and I would get a text message or a phone call, or I would call him, or it was just not a good situation. I just couldn't let go of the past, and that hurt mine and Santiago's relationship because Santiago was like, listen, if you still like this guy, I don't want to date you because then you have feelings for two of us, and that's not okay with me. And I was like, I understand, I said, you have every right to be upset, and you have every right to be bothered by this. I'm bothered by this. And then we ended up breaking up because I couldn't let go of my past relationship. And I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. I had almost 2 years to get past my very first relationship, and I couldn't let it go. Hello. Grow up a little. It was a high school love story, okay? So, let it go. And eventually I did let it go. And I allowed myself, I went right back. I went to Santiago and I was like, listen, I let it go. I want to grow with you. I want us in our relationship to grow in God, and I want it to mature, and I want it to be the best that it can be. And I'm just letting go of this dude. We're starting over. And so we took a little bit, we dated, we took a break, and then we got back together. Because I was like, I want to be with this guy. He's so good to me. Oh my gosh, I skipped the best part. Okay, so we're going to rewind a little bit. And before Santiago and I started dating, this was so important. I told God, I said, God, if this is the guy that you want me to be with, these 3 things need to happen. I remember growing up and I was always told to be specific when we were talking to God because God cares about what we want. God cares about what we love. And, it may not be his plan, but he cares. And he wants us to be true with him. He wants us to be specific. We should have specific prayers because specific prayers are powerful prayers because we are truly opening up ourselves and we are allowing ourselves to tell God all of our little thoughts and all the little things that we're hiding in the back of our mind. Like, we're allowing ourselves to be truthful and tell God, okay, this is honestly what I want. And I understand if I don't get it, it's okay, but this is what I want. And it sounds a little selfish, but specific prayers are powerful prayers. And so I was being very specific when it was coming to my love life because that affected my future. You know what I mean? So I said there were 3 things that I told God had to be the base of this relationship. Number 1, this guy had to love God and seek God with his whole heart. Duh. That was like the most important thing that this guy could ever do in his life. Number 2, this guy had to love Broadway. What, Deanna? That's so silly. Why does he have to love Broadway? Because I love Broadway, okay? Today when I was cleaning my house, what was I cleaning it to? Broadway music. Because you could just jam to that. Dance moves, even if you're not a dancer, with Broadway music, you are a dancer, okay? You feel it in your soul, and you let it out. And you just feel good after you put some on, all right? It's end of discussion. No argument. Ever. And 3, oh my gosh, this is so dumb saying it out loud. Okay, so 3, every girl has that perfect scenario. You know what I mean? Like, he shows up at your job with flowers, or he hides chocolates in your car, or on Valentine's Day, he gets you brand new earrings. Like, every girl just has that perfect scenario, okay? Where they're like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with this guy. Barf. Even more barf, here's mine. So I always imagined myself, I love to go on walks and I love to talk, obviously. Why else would I create a podcast? My idea was me and this guy would be walking next to each other and we were laughing and joking and flirting, and I would say something, or he would say something dumb and I'd be like,
oh my gosh, you're crazy.
and then he'd look at me and go,
crazy about you.
Saying it out loud is so dumb. Okay, but that's honestly what I told God. I was like, okay, God, these are my 3 specific things that have to happen. He has to love you, he has to love Broadway, and I have to have a really cheesy scenario happen in my lifetime for me to believe it. Ew. Wow, I'm lame. Okay, so those 3 things were so important to me, and I prayed about it, and I talked to God about it. So let's fast forward a little bit now. We were talking, and those couple months of friendship, those things started to happen. And it was they were not like, I wouldn't say that they were super noticeable, but they were noticeable to me. So the fact that he loved God, like every time we had lunch together, he would pray first. In one of his Bible classes, if there was a verse or something that really stood out to him, he would find time out of his day to message me and be like, hey, we need to meet up because I have to tell you about this verse. I have to tell you about this book that I was reading. I have to tell you about what my professor told me today in my Bible class. God was his number 1. And that was so evident. And it still is today. He struggles just as much as anyone else struggles, but he is so quick to remind me that we have to go to God. So it was very evident to me that God was his number 1. Like, that's something I've never doubted before. The second thing, Broadway. He had to love Broadway, right? He loves listening to like rap music and hip hop and funk and jazz. I don't know. One day he messaged me and he was like, oh my gosh, we have to get together. I just found the best Broadway musical ever. And I was like, what the heck are you talking about? And he was bringing it up because he knew I loved Broadway. And so we meet up for lunch and he goes,
have you ever heard of Hamilton?
And I was like,
yes.
And he was like,
but have you listened to it?
And at that point I hadn't. And I said,
no, not really, because I'm not a big fan of rap.
And he was like,
okay, It's not the kind of rap that you think it is.
And so we listened to it, and he's the one that got me into Hamilton, which is so funny because usually it's the other way around. Like, I get him into things. The fact that he brought a musical to me and introduced me to a musical, and he still today loves that musical, hello. And he's so open to watching other musicals and listening to them now too. And it's so cute because he lets me listen and dance around the house to my Broadway music, and he doesn't complain. What a dude. And the last thing, my perfect scenario actually happened. It did, and I didn't even initiate it. I mean, I kind of did, but I kind of didn't. We were walking and talking one night. Like, we would usually take walks around the campus at night and just talk to one another, and we would take laps, and I don't know, he's a dude. And so he said something dumb, and I looked at him and I said,
You're crazy.
and he stops dead in his tracks, looks me straight in the eyeballs, and he goes,
Deanna, I'm crazy about you.
It happened. It happened, ladies. I stopped dead in my tracks, and I looked at him, and I got teary-eyed, and he was like,
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean to.
and I was like, no, it's okay. And so at that point, I sat him down, and I was like, listen, these past couple months, I was not really sure that, like, you were the one for me. You know, like, your friendship was nice, but I just wasn't sure about us. I said, these are the 3 specific things that I have been praying for. And you have literally done every single one, or you have checked off every single one. I said, I'm not trying to make it sound like a coincidence, and I'm not trying to convince myself that this relationship is supposed to happen, but I'm recognizing that the 3 specific things I prayed for have happened. And a couple months after that, we did start dating. So that was super cute. And then we dated, the breakup happened, and then we dated again because, you know, feelings and emotions and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, this is my guy. We had a very tough first year of marriage because that's when Amelia was born, and we were still kind of getting to know each other. You know, we did get married relatively fast, but we also wanted to get married relatively fast. I wanted to share Amelia and Santiago's last name when she was born. I did get pregnant before we got married, which that is a very hard situation for me to talk about because there's still emotions with that I struggle with sometimes. But at the end of the day, it was God's plan, and I'm accepting that it was God's plan, and I'm understanding that God took that situation and that he is moving in my family and moving in our life from that. So after we found out we were pregnant, we decided we wanted to get married because I wanted to share both of their last names when she was born. And ever since then, like, year 1 of marriage was not the cupcake stage for us, but when we're going to hit year 2 here in the next couple weeks, and I think year 2 was pretty good to us. Like, it started off rocky, but in the middle of year 2, we, like, picked up the pace, and we found where we wanted to go, and we got this apartment, and our marriage thrived. We got better jobs, and we have been so good. So good since then, you know, like, he truly is my best friend. He makes me happy. He makes me laugh. He provides for us. He's the best dad ever. Like, seeing him and Amelia is one of my favorite things. We were eating dinner last night, and when he got done praying over dinner, I looked at him and I said, can I tell you something? And he said, well, yeah. And I said, when you pray, all of my worries go away. And he said, well, yeah, that's what happens when you pray. And I said, no, like, when you pray, when I hear your voice praying and talking to God, that is so calming to me, because I know that I might be struggling and I might be worried and I might be having a total panic attack, but your first instinct is to go and talk to God. And if I feel like I can't do it in a moment, you can, and you talk to him. You guys are chilling because you guys are homies, and it's a good time. It's a good thing, and he is my good thing. And that's something that we have talked about before. You know, everyone has their good things in life. There are things in our life that are good for us, and he is truly my good thing. And I don't know where I would be in this crazy world without him. And I'm so beyond thankful for him each and every day. So, yep, we met in college, and we have a beautiful baby girl, and we have hundreds of years to grow together. He's my best friend. And I can't wait for you guys to find your best friends too, if you don't. Ugh. If you don't have them, like, just wait. God will provide. He might put you, or he won't put you, but you might put yourself in a sticky situation. But you have to trust that God's going to get you out of it, and he's going to put you in an even better one because he loves you and he wants you to be loved the way that you want to be loved. Like, he wants to provide that for you. Yeah, I love talking about my guy. He's such a good guy. Let's talk about my 3 good things that happened this week. So this week, I got a new job. Woohoo! I was so excited about that. I was doing like Instacart and DoorDash, and that was bringing me even more stress because it wasn't consistent, and I like consistency in my life. I got a new job at a daycare because I love babies. And I'm super stoked about that. I officially got this podcast up. Oh, what? Yes, let's talk about that for a second. So my podcast can be found on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, 4 different platforms. You heard me right. Holy cow, I'm so excited about it. The links to those will be under this video. You can also find links to those on Facebook and Instagram. And I would love if you checked it out. You know, I'm going to be putting out podcasts weekly. I'm so excited to be sharing with you guys and growing with you guys and loving on you guys because this is going to be a good thing. I promise you. Woohoo! And number 3, this is really cool. So my husband and I paid off some debts this past week, and holy cow, like a weight has been lifted off our shoulders. A big thing in our marriage, a big thing in all marriages, is finances. And our first year, a big reason that was really rocky is because of finances. Year number 2, we were like, no, we're not going back to that. So we took control of our finances. And let me tell you, that is the best decision that we could ever make. So that is my 3rd good thing. We took care of some debts, and we're just rolling with the punches. We're going to keep going and taking out these debts, and I'm so excited to see what God's going to do for our marriage and for our relationship and for our family because we are being consistent and we are being true to who God wants us to be when it comes to our finances. 3 good things. I'm so glad that you guys stopped to listen and to hang out for a little bit. I hope you guys are having a great day, and remember to smile because it is a good day. We'll see you next week. Bye.